Okay, so for that what we required, we as we know that there are 7 different steps are there. We have discussed a lot for these steps. I think where is that steps. Okay, so these are the steps which we have already seen in the theory lecture. So now, so first step is that you need to import the API, right? So API in this case we require the SQL package. Okay, so instead of these we require the java.sql. Then we required the class name, the driver name for the specific database. Like in this case, we are using the MySQL database. Therefore, we required the com.mysql cj jdbc driver. Okay, and the for to load then register of the your driver, we required this method, for name method. Okay, so this for name method will be called by passing the driver name. So this is the example which is given. And in the step number 3 we need to establish the connection. For establishing the connection, we are calling the method, or we are using the method as a get connection. So within the get connection, you can pass the URL, and you can pass if you are using the username and password for your database. Okay, so you need to pass the 3 different parameters. So at the time, so while declaring the URL, we have already seen how to different components are there within the URL. Okay, so first part is the complete address of your URL. Okay, so within that we have seen the URL structure. So like this, so JDBC is the indication of Java database connectivity. Then second part is the MySQL database, name of your database. Third part is the address of your or location of your database. Okay, so here we are giving the local host, right? And after that the communication port number we required. So by default MySQL port number is 3306, and after that we have to give the name of your database. Okay, so these are the URL we need to pass. And the next step is that, so once you have get connected with your database through this URL and username, then you are able to create the statements. Okay, so you can create the statements by using the object of your statement class, and we are calling the statement method, create statement method. Okay, by the use of the object class of your connection class. Okay, so by using the connection class object, you are able to create the statement, and it will be stored into the object of your statement class, right? And the next statement is, once you have created the statement, you can fire the query. You can execute the query by using the 3 different ways, like the execute query, or execute update. Okay, so you can use any one of the approach like this. And once you have executed the query, if your query return something data is there, some data is written by your query after successful execution, so at the time it should be hold by some another variable. Okay, or it should be stored into the particular object. Okay, so to store this such kind of structured data into the particular variable, it is not possible. Therefore we have to use the result set class object. Okay, so here we are using the result set object, result set class object res. So within that, whatever the values are written, that value will be held by this res object. Okay, once you get this value result set from your executed query, you will process that query. Okay, so this is the next step. Okay, so you can retrieve the information by the column number, or by using the column name. Likewise, there are plenty of ways we can play with your result sets. Okay, and once your work has been finished, you can close the connection. Okay, so these are the 7 important steps you have to follow. Okay, so in the last lecture we have seen how to insert the data into the table. So first we have seen how to create the table, then insert the table, then we have seen how to delete the record, how to update the records from your table. Okay, so now today we want to discuss about how to retrieve the information or select the record from your table. Okay, so for that I will save this program as it is. Okay, so instead of database update we require the select record. Okay, so we required select record from your table. So we will modify the class name as a select record, right? So within your main method, here we are storing the one object, the result set objects. Here we require the result set objects res equal to none. Till date we don't want this table name, but we will we will skip it. Okay, and here in the try catch block we are using the username. By default username for SQL is a root, so you can modify the username and password while installation of your MySQL. Okay, or you can later on also modify. So in our case we have taken the username as a root and password as a root, right? And after that we have the URL jdbc colon mysql localhost 3306 Abhishek. Okay, so this is the complete URL, which is we have already discussed a lot on this URL. Okay, so now we want to establish the connection. Means first we know we want to load the driver and make the registration. Okay, for that we have to pass this driver name. Okay, so currently the driver name is for MySQL database is com.mysql.cj.jdbc driver. Okay, so class dot for name, new instance will be created every time when your program will be executed. And you want to establish the connection by using the get connection method, which is defined under the driver manager class. Okay, so within that we are passing this URL, your username and password. Okay, so once your connection is successful, you will be get a message that the connection is successful. And after that you want to create the statement con.create statement. Okay, and now you want to execute, you want to check the query. Okay, so you want to check select star from student like this. Okay, so this is the query. Okay, and you want to execute from your uh, Java program. Okay, so I will just write this, but try to remember the here in MySQL the student table is defined under which class or which app. Okay, so it is defined under the Abhishek database. Okay, so there is no problem. If it is defined under the different database, so you have to modify this database name or you have to change this database name. Okay, now if this query is fire or executed successfully, you will get the results value. Okay, like this. So here you can see these are the values will be appear. So you want to hold this value into the result sets. So therefore we are using the object of result set class, so which is we have already declared here. Okay, so that value will be stored here, and after that you want to display the values. Okay, so for that you have to use the while block. Res dot next method is there. We have discussed a lot regarding the various methods which are available to retrieve the information from your table. Okay, so res dot next. After that just wait, this code like this. So we will use the variables like this. Okay, these are the different variables we required. So first check the uh, fields. First is the first column is roll number and second column is name. So for that we want to create the variable like this string. For example, a roll number you can give the any name. Okay, and second one is the name. Okay, this variable we required, right? And while fetching the information you want to use like this. So rs dot get string. Okay, like this you have to use. So by using the column name we have to fetch the information rs dot. For example, here column name is what is your column name? Roll number. Okay, so this roll number we have to use as a to retrieve the information, and second column is the name. Okay, so rs dot get name. You can directly just print the value, or directly you can store this value into the variable. So we can store this value into the variable roll number equal to and name equal to like this. Okay, so sometimes if you require the specific data type value, so at the time instead of this get string you have to use get integer, get double, get float. Like this you can perform. Okay, and once you get this result value you can process it now. Okay, so right now we want to just display the values system dot out dot println. Okay, that value should be printed here. So we can say the roll number colon. Okay, so it will be print the value of roll number plus we have to give the one tab plus the second value of your table is name. We have to print name plus name. Okay, so you can check it. Sorry, name equal to rs dot get string. Okay, so that's it. Now check whether your program is working properly or not. Go to the command prompt, compile your program, Java C, database. What is the name of your class? Database select record. Okay, so you can write like this, database select record dot java. Okay, so if any error is there, that error can be shown here. So integer cannot be converted to result sets. Okay, so the problem of this execute update is it will return the integer value. Okay, so instead of that we have to use the execute command only. Okay, so we have to use just a execute method instead of the execute. Okay, so just modify it. Now check, cannot be converted to result set. Okay, opinion. Is okay. So instead of that we have to use like this. There is no problem, we can execute it. Once the query is executed, whatever these statements are written, it will be stored into the get by it will be returned by using the get result set. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so now there is no problem. After that you want to execute the command execute the program java c cp dot the name of your the connector semicolon and this main class name. Okay, so now you can see the connection is successful and you will get this value. Okay, so roll number 7 like this. Okay, then after that connection is closed. So if you want to beautify it, so you can beautify your program like this. So roll number yeah, like this. So here. Okay, so here we require the space in between them. So you will use this. Okay, again after the completion of that you require the one line. After each and every statement you require the one line. Okay, dot out dot interior. Okay, so here simply happen, we are not giving any double quotation. Okay, so it will be look like this, and it should not, it will be look like this. So these are the results. Now you want to check the different table name. Okay, so I think in the MySQL. Okay, so here the table name is Java course 3. Within that there are certain values are there. So you need to use the table name. So instead of the student, we just change Java course 3. Okay. Java course 3. Now here so many